Now entering the ring, boxing out of the red corner, weighing in at 210 pounds, representing Troublemaker Gym and trained by Pedro Baca and Jerry No, Bryan the Rooster Grobe. Please welcome, boxing out of the blue corner, weighing in at 203 pounds, representing Touch of Sleep Boxing and trained by DeVero Williamson and Paul Adams, Ray, show you right, Tomsick! Our fourth bout of the evening is brought to you by our silver sponsors, Brandon Junt and Mythology Distillery. Bronze sponsors, Veritas Cannabis, Michelle and Joe Buck, and Bueller Companies.
All right. We got ourselves a good old-fashioned...
Oh, my God.
A good old-fashioned fist fight coming up, y'all.
God.
We got a little backyard brawl coming between these two boys.
I mean, again, shout out to our sponsors. We have
Get
Brandon
boxing.
Junt,
Hold your
Mythology
head up.
Distillery.
No hitting behind
We
the
have
back.
Veritas
No hitting
Cannabis.
back down
We
here.
have Michelle and Joe Buck. Maybe
Waist
some
line from here
relation.
and up.
Maybe.
Maybe. And
No wrestling.
Bueller.
Touch
Bueller.
gloves.
Bueller Companies.
Bueller.
I'm sure they
y'all.
get that all the time.
I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they
I'm
do.
sure they don't appreciate that we're doing it too.
All right, big dogs. Let's see what we got here.
Oh, my goodness.
All
There was
right,
a lot
boys.
of energy in
As
the crowd when they came out.
Y'all, I know you're just watching at home, but you can feel it out here. I'm just looking. I think that any one of these shots, woof,
Oh, my
one of
God.
these hits you, it's not just a ton of bricks. It's like 2 tons of bricks. Okay, we're seeing a nice variation of shots. We're seeing some good changing levels, and like the footwork's looking nice right now. We're not seeing anybody get too stuck.
Now, the thing I want to see from Bryan Grobe a little bit more, well, Bryan Grobe is just putting some punches on Ray.
Yeah.
But what I want to say about Bryan's defense here is I think when Bryan's getting into it, he's a little bit more inclined to lean at the waist back,
Yep,
which is
and like
a little troublesome, right? Because if Ray is able to close that distance, Ray can land a punch at the tip of his.
and he's back on his heels.
punch.
You are
Right. You got nowhere to go.
Yeah, nowhere to
You
go.
got nowhere to go. You're already in your recliner. Why don't you go lay all the way down?
Take you to bed.
That's
actually,
what they say. Why don't you go straight to
that's
bed?
when I fall asleep in the recliner, and my wife says, "Honey, you should just go to
Honey,
bed."
Just go to
Just
bed.
go to bed. But
Now-
I'm comfy here.
Now,
I was
things-
watching
Ooh,
that.
that was a big backhand right, or rear hand that just came over the top. This is really great to see from these guys. I do want to also say, right, it is.
Good shot.
Okay.
Didn't
okay.
expect
we got Ray getting the attention of Bryan.
Ray with that big old haymaker right across, right into the head.
Now, something that I definitely speculate about, right? Being in that ring, you're seeing red gloves, you're seeing blue gloves with a white tip on it. Now, I'm wondering with all the lights around here, right, with just the general scene, is it easier to see a certain kind of glove coming at you,
wonder.
or is it harder?
I bet you the white,
I don't know.
The white gloves I would think would be harder to see.
Right, because it might get washed out.
Might get washed out, but the red you're
that
seeing.
That might be my goal. Oh my gosh, Bryan getting his shots in, right? We saw Ray push him back, and we saw a response within the same round. That is super important to dictate.
Absolutely, and Bryan's starting to recognize this pattern that Ray's doing, where he changes levels, throws 2 shots, and then leans back. And he's able to notice, oh, as long as I slip these first 2, I can get that real clean shot over the top.
That was a great round for both guys. Now, I do think it's important to note here that we're seeing guys that are pushing, they're in that 200-pound range.
Agreed.
And I'm not going to say I know what it's like to walk around or fight at that weight whatsoever, but I would say to see 2 fighters at that weight class being that active.
That was great active
That was an
feat.
amazing first round.
Absolutely.
I just want to see that. I just want to see that kind of the energy going to the second and the third.
100%.
Now, we have a good look at the red corner right now, and we're seeing the coach of Bryan talking about keeping distance by the way he was pantomiming here, and then also talking about that rear hand right,
up,
kind of landing that up and through.
100%.
Now, let's see if we see that come to life.
We were able to watch. I was seeing over in blue, Ray's guard was really starting to pull wide. He was opening up because his punches were moving out to the wide.
Open,
oh, dude, you can run a semi truck right down the middle if you want
to. Land a plane in there, bud.
Land the plane. Oh, all right, we got Ray starting to pump up the crowd. I'm seeing a little bump. All right, we're hearing the people go.
It's mixed cheers. It's hard to really understand exactly who they're cheering for, but the good thing is that we see the energy kind of spread throughout both. So I'm a big fan of what we're hearing
Officials
here.
coming over here. I'm wondering, is there a blood stoppage?
Maybe.
We're wondering. Is it a headgear issue? It might be a headgear issue.
Oh,
all right, yeah.
Change it?
I think it might be. Oh, okay. I think we got ourselves a headgear issue.
Now, for the folks at home, we did learn from our good friend, confidant, and employee of Rumble in the Rockies that the headgear is to be approved just to keep the safety standards as high as possible. They're not taking them off, right? Oh, okay, they're just putting on new headgear for the.
They said whatever the rules are, we're throwing them out. No headgear, no problem.
Oh my gosh,
I'd be worried.
Be so nervous.
I'd be so nervous.
I'd be so nervous.
Oh
my gosh.
I feel like we'd need at least a 2-second live delay.
Now in this stoppage, I'm going to take advantage of this time, Matthew, to also talk about that same friend, that same confidant, that same employee who was telling us about the headgear. He also heads up the operation at Haymakers for Hope to operate and train and set runners up for success.
You might think that Haymakers for Hope is just about boxing, but you'd be wrong.
But you might see over here a little hat. And on this, it's probably hard to see right now, it's the Haymakers for Hope Harriers. This is a lot of people dream about this night in the ring. And beyond this, right, let's talk about a reality of their experience here. You can only fight in this context one time. But a lot of folks have a lifelong mission here, right? We know that the mission of all the fighters here extend beyond this evening.
Here we go, round 2.
If they want to stay in that Haymakers for Hope
family,
I'd say family. That's a great way to say it. They have the ability to, let's say, maybe do a race they've always wanted to do the New York City Marathon, do the Paris Marathon.
Berlin, you name it, there are many options.
Destinations that you want to go to, right?
In the same way that you can sign up and fight with Haymakers for Hope, you can sign up and run with with the Haymaker Harriers.
Exactly.
Same idea, still with the same mission of KOing cancer.
And while there are some spots that are still open and going very fast for the fall season, they're already filling up spots for 2025.
2025.
I know. So if you have that, if you're listening to this right now and say, hey, I love what we're doing here. I love the cause, but maybe the ring's not for me, or maybe you've already fought before. There's another way. Exactly. There's another way that you can make sure that you're still being a part of this solution and doing a great thing while challenging yourself to the depths that these guys are doing right in the ring right now.
Absolutely. So please reach out to everyone here at Haymakers for Hope, whether you want to fight or if you want to race.
Run. Yeah.
You name it. we got it.
Exactly, and you'll be supported along the way by a coach who's really looking out for your well-being here, just like these fighters are, right? These fighters are training for months at a time. I know a lot of folks on the live stream have a personal relationship. Maybe they started going to the bar less. Maybe they check out of work a little early. Maybe they're just a loved one who's showing up with a little scar into their eye.
Oh,
but
yeah.
They're equally prepared today. We're seeing a great energy second round right now in this exchange between these two.
And I totally agree that what we were really looking for in this second round was to keep this active stance, that the movement stays hot, that the feet keep going. And we're seeing it right now. The feet are still going.
Exactly.
And, like, this is exactly what we wanted to see. I think that's a pretty good
lead
shot.
hook from Ray. Stamping him twice, right on the chin. Now, something I do want to mention as well, right? We did see the corner for Bryan, the red corner, was talking about how to bring that rear hand uppercut up the middle on Ray, and we did see that work.
One more round coming to you from the big boys. But let's bring in our ring card warrior, Sandra.
And allow that lane right up the middle.
So we saw some effective uppercuts land that surprised Ray a bit, but we did see.
Sorry, guys. We just
Sorry,
like
we're just swag
surfing.
surfing right now. I don't know if this is like a copyright infringement for you to
It might be a
what song
copyright
is playing.
infringement, but, you know, it's a pretty good one. Sometimes you just got to swag surf.
Just a quick break for everybody.
I surf. I swag. I surf. See, this is what we're talking about when you're thinking about that movement. Hands stay up.
Right.
You're going back and forth.
Now, let's be honest. I mean, you bring up a great point, Matthew, because we're taking that head off the center line when we're doing this. But also, do we hear that Tommy Richmond instrumental coming in?
Oh,
it's another copyright infringement. I'm sorry.
Another copyright infringement.
Oh, my gosh. The bell has gone. Let's see this energy when we come out for the final round of this fight. Who lands that first punch? Who's going to win? Who's going to win and getting that first punch off?
I'm starting to see Ray is leaning forward on his toes. And, again, that constant movement, we're not seeing as much from Bryan.
What a sneaky jab from Bryan, though. He
great
snuck it
shots.
in. He
great
snuck
shots
that
on
in.
the inside.
Great head movement from Ray, though, right? We're seeing Ray drop the level, which is interesting, right? Because it is to the benefit of Ray. But when Bryan has that clear vision of what he's doing, it does challenge you to really get your head off center, so he just can't come straight down and punch you.
And Ray needs to like start shifting up that move.
Okay.
The fact that he's
All right,
going
Bryan.
like he changes the levels, he hits 2 shots and backs off. Bryan's starting to recognize that is the shot that's coming. So he says, I'm going to wait for you. And as soon as you go for that shot, I'm going to catch you off balance.
Yeah, we're seeing kind of styles that are working together again where, here we go. In these flurries, it gets a little bit more messy because you're right. Ray's kind of spamming the thing that does work well. He's going.
If it works, it works.
He's going that right cross, that 2 to the body, and then he's coming up for that lead hook to the head. And it is landing. And when, like you said, when Bryan sees it, makes sure he's landing. So you hear some crowd chatter in the background. That's totally fine. Now they're talking about how that was a trip, right? So that was not a knockdown, right? He waved it off. The official waved it off and said it is not a knockdown. So when you're scoring this round, that you can still count the punch, but you're not counting that as that significant leap.
You're not getting that extra point for it. You're not getting that like special treatment for it.
Here's that deep breath.
Yep.
What are we gonna do, boys?
Water in the basement.
Oh! But we're hearing it called a trip again.
It's called a trip.
Now I'm turning around. I see some folks. They're standing up. They're cheering.
Excited.
There's some cheers out in the crowd for that. Now let's be clear, right?
Are they gonna let that be that?
That's it.
All right.
That's it. Now let's back to what we're saying, right? Let it be known that both of those knockdowns
were trips.
So therefore, they do not count towards knockdown. I shouldn't even call it that.
No one's going to get extra points for either of those.
Right. So they can score the effectiveness of the punch that led to it, or the punches on the way in and the way out, but the actual hitting the ground is not scored on top of that.
Agreed. It still counts as a shot, but you're not getting that extra score on top.
Probably tough to score this round, or
I
think
it is really tough to score this fight.
Are you gonna go out on a limb?
I don't know.
I don't know if I want to either. I hate to be wrong.
I really hate to be wrong.
To be wrong.
I feel that Ray controlled more flow, but I feel that Bryan had more shots that counted. Like,
I do think that Bryan did have, I think they had two different styles, but they meshed well together, right? Where we saw Bryan kind of stand upright and be able to have his punches. He had a good vision of where
Totally
Ray
agree.
was at all times. Not saying he was able to reach him at all times, but he knew where he was for
and he
most of
started
this
to
fight,
tell
right?
it, and he started to really find out
Yes.
where Ray's pattern was going. And
Right.
you were able to see that when he would drop in that level, he could go directly down in from the top
Right.
and make that shot
And
happen.
the difference that we saw here, the difference that we saw in this, right, was Ray was down a little bit more to get into the space, and he was going to get low and change his level and get off the center line. So I do think this is a great fight of different styles that still meshed well together, right?
I very much
there
agree.
was not a lot of silence. There wasn't a lot of like inaction amongst these guys.
I don't think that the action
Credit
fell
to
at
them
any
both.
point. Yes, that especially like we were really saying, I hope that the feet stay moving. I hope the dancing keeps going the whole time.
Ladies and
Exactly what we
gentlemen,
got to
put
see
your hands together for the big boys out there, going toe-to-toe, throwing heavy leather. After 3 rounds, we go to our judges' scorecard for a split decision, declaring your winner out of the red corner, Bryan Grobe.
Congratulations to Bryan Grobe out of the red corner.
Great shots.
There's definitely mixed reviews here, and
I'm hearing them.
that only shows
How
the
tight
effort
it was.
of both of those fighters to really put themselves out there and to land great punches, to move effectively, to move
Agreed.
athletically.